Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is fine on this glorious Saturday. I can see that there's 3 people in. Hello. Yeah, today, obviously, I'm going to introduce Jessie CRAIGNOU. And we're going to, hi, Linda. We're going to talk about spirits and guides. Unfortunately, our John isn't here today to host, so I'm taking his place. Unfortunately, he's a little bit under weather, bless him. So yeah, next time he shall be on. Hiya, Sam. Hope all is well. As I've just mentioned, Jessie CRAIGNOU is going to be on very, very shortly. Hiya, Drew. About spirits and guides. So I'm going to bring him on. The one and only Jessie CRAIGNOU. Hi, Jessie.
Hi, Philip. Hi, everybody. Nice to be back again with everybody. Yeah, sorry to hear about John, but it's nice to have Philip also for a change until John gets better and comes back to us. Yes, we're going to be talking about spirits and guides tonight. Now, why? As I was just saying offline a moment ago to Philip, a lot of people are talking today, and a lot of people are certainly talking about spirits and guides, but there's also, like in many subjects, a lot of confusion about them. Some people will tell you, for example, that you have, for example, so many guardian angels or your life, so many guides being with you, and helping you, and etc. It is true and it isn't, in fact. It doesn't actually work like that. We may have people who come, like I have, for example, or my nephew, I've talked about him before, my nephew in Tehran, who has somebody who's been with him, an alien who's been with him all his life ever since he was born. Now he's now 17, I'm now 60, and I've had this, I like to call him a travel mate kind of thing, a galactic travel mate, and a friend, a teacher, a very, very loving and kind entity, I should say, who's been loving, helping, teaching, training me in many ways. He's not the only one, but he's the only one who's been with me all along, and so far, and as to the best of my knowledge, is still around. We have some companions joining us tonight from out of space also. They're just coming in now. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And the actual fact is that for most people on this planet and on other planets, we have around us, may we be aware of it, that we have people around us, not all well-willed. Some of them are ill-willed even sometimes, and not always benevolent as they should be, but there are ways to negotiate with them, and I certainly know them, and anybody who will ask me, I will do it for them and with them. But the way the system works, as it were, and I mean not only this system, hi Chantal, is we have aliens and entities around us all the time who come to either watch us and study us. They may also help us on occasions. There may be all kinds of people from all kinds of areas in this universe and other universe, in this dimension and other dimension. Hi, Sam. Nice to have you with us too. And they come because they're really curious about us. Some of them also come because come and go because they actually created humans or helped create humans. We may be partly, like I am, for example, alien, and they come and see how their investment in mankind goes and works and does. Yeah. And but in fact, they come and go. We don't always have. It's the same with totem animals. If you heard about them, we have some animals from this dimension, another dimension, who come and protect us and fare with us for some time. They come to study us and help us, and may help us if we ask them to. But they come and go. They come because, in fact, through helping us and observing, I mean, watching us and studying us, as it were, they learn. And through learning, they also evolve in their own way, in the way they need. Even if they are above us, higher dimensions, and etc., they still have to evolve. And so they come. They may be guides, they may be spirits, they may be dead people, they may be aliens, they may be animals, they may be fairies, they may be ones, for example, and nature creatures. And it's really nice, actually, to have them with us, even if only for a period. When they've done their job here, or when they feel they cannot help us anymore or any further, they just move on, and some others come and take their seat, as it were, and are there in their stead, you know, as a new kind of partner. I like to call them companions and partners and travel mates, because that's really what they are. They have no obligation to do that. They do that for themselves, for us, because they chose to do it, like we choose our karma and what we're going to do and what we're going to live before we're actually born. And they just come. We may call upon them and summon them sometimes for help, and they will come. They will not come necessarily instantly. I mean, it's not, they don't appear by magic like this and carry out a job. They're not the X-Men, if you see what I mean, or but they really, really are full of goodwill. And they will help to the best of their knowledge. It's not because they are above humans in vibration, skills, talents, you name it, that they can necessarily help us. They really do their best. As I've said before, I've had a lot of health issues in many, many ways. A lot of them have helped me to the best of their knowledge, and sadly, it didn't last. So I'm calling on, again, to other higher entities all the time who also come and do their best. So don't give up. It's a full-time job. You know, our life is here as a full-time job. That's why we're here. This is our full-time job, not to just be born, reproduce, go shopping, spend, buy, and you name it. You know, we are here to evolve, and all this is part of the process. Now, they help us. They really, really, really help us. I've talked in our past shows about my friend Stefan here, and we're really, really helping him at the moment. And he has a new alien family. They're called the Astras, and the Astras are what I used to call metallic people, because they are metal. Now, the strange thing is, I always imagine they were really very robot-looking, but in fact, not at all. I can now really see them for what they are and who they are. And they're more like kind of galactic frogs, as it were. And they really, really work with, and they are fueled by some kind of galactic electricity. They're really, really amazing. And they've been coming to get back in touch with Stefan, because he's part of their family also. It's kind of hybridization, as it were, and they've actually come to get him back, because he's one of their masters. So it's really, really good, but it's really very, very painful for him, because he's like mutating. You know, I mean, one of my favorite X-Men is actually an X-woman. It's Mystique. I've talked about her.
Yes, so can change her appearance.
Yeah, she's got that kind of talent for copying, as it were.
Yeah, and like a chameleon. Yeah.
Sorry, Philip?
Like a chameleon, she adjusts to her background.
Well, yes, thank you. For lack of a better word, yes, chameleon is a good definition. She's like a kind of chameleon, and this is what's happening to Stefan. Now, he has his earthly look still, but I mean, when we look at him from a galactic point of view, he looks completely different. He's a bit like a kind of frog in a way, completely different, of course, from his human body, in colors, in shapes, in things, and etc. So he's that is part of his galactic life. I have my own galactic lives also. I've talked about them before, especially when I work with the galactic confederations and other galactic confederations from other galaxies. And this is really, really amazing. So tonight is a bit like everything you've always wanted to know about spirits and guides and never dared ask. And if you do ask tonight, we should have answers from our friends out there. We have people, we have people from Atlantis who are here also. That is really, really great. I'm always happy to see my Atlantean friends, because I was an Atlantean in the past, and I'm always, they're really amazing also. And they're so close to humans. They're like the Pleiadians, if you've ever heard of the Pleiadians, who come from the Pleiades. They're very, very close to humans.
Yes.
Yeah, they're very, very close to humans, and they're apparently always very, very kind and very ready to help. They're not one of my favorite. I mean, favorite is not a question of liking, it's a question of frequency, how often it happens more than anything. Contacts, maybe they don't need me, maybe I have no real business or urgent business with them. But I have met them on occasions, and they're really, really good. They make themselves available to humans through channeling people. Now, the most famous is an American woman called Barbara Marciniak, who's really, really like their ambassador here, as it were, if they should have one. She's really, really good, and she really channels for them all the time. She's really, really good. They are some kind, they appear, I mean, people like the Pleiadians, for example, or the Atlanteans for me, or the reptilians also for me, they appear like some animals sometimes appear to me too, totem animals, alien animals who do not exist on Earth, and they just appear to me. And we really have this kind of contacts, and to some people they would be angels, they would be spirits, they would be guides, they would be all these kind of people. Now, interestingly enough, I was going, I downloaded the book of Enoch. She's really, really amazing, which was cast away by the religious council, I think, of Nicaea. And so it was rejected, if you like, for lack of a better word, from the Bible. You know, the Bible, the Catholic Bible is 4 books. The Jewish Bible is 5 books before that. The Jewish Bible rests on what is called the Pentateuch, the 5 books which constitute what we call today the Old Testament. And then the arrival of Jesus generated many, many books, 4 of which have been retained by the Church, the Roman Church, and they are what is called the New Testament. Chantal is talking to us. Mystics' abilities are not that far-fetched if you think about it. Cuttle fiction. Yes, Chantal, you're absolutely right. But that also goes to show that I've talked about, I think I've talked about octopi people, you know, from other planets.
Yes.
I know 4, maybe 5 races, completely different, but they're all octopi. They are just amazing, and they are so intelligent. And one of them had an argument with me. She came and told me off, and really mad. And she had, in fact, it was a total misunderstanding, because she thought I didn't like her, and I had actually never met her, to the best of my knowledge. But she really thought I didn't like her, and I didn't mean well for her or anything. And I was against her, which I wasn't. I mean, I'm against nobody to begin with, but certainly not against her, because I had never met her. She was a new octopi alien species to me. And in fact, I managed to calm her down, and we got to talking, and it was really, really amazing. I walked her through the light, and we're still connected through the light, and that is really, really amazing. Now, these people, they also come, and they can be interpreted like in the Bible, for example, or other religious book, the jinns for the Muslim, for example. They are entities that come and connect to us and or with us. And they're here for a purpose. Nothing happens at random. You know, everything happens for a reason. There are people, for example, in a garden, There are the flowers you like, you cherish, you care for, you tend to, and then there are the weeds. Now, in the universe, there are no weeds. Everything is just good. Everything is here for a reason. And in fact, the weeds are very often very good plants, medically speaking, and they come and help us. And I just saw a video yesterday, it wasn't just now, but yesterday, about this woman who makes her own soap for washing her clothes with ivy. And it's really, really good, and it's natural, it's easy to do. And, you know, people will laugh at this, but if, for example, one day ICI or any of these big people, you know, in technology and cleaning products, for example, decided to make washing powder or washing up liquid with ivy, people would probably rush to go and buy it. But if you have to make it at home, people will laugh at you and they will say, oh, this is just old wives' tales, you know, forget it. This is not. It just they would have to pay the price for them, which is ridiculous because they probably have a lot of ivy growing in their own backyard.
In the garden.
They know what to do.
I've got some strangling my tree in the back garden as we talk. That's why what fascinates me about blackberries. It's a fruit that grows on a bush that's actually aimed to hurt you.
Yeah. So goes back to saying, Philip, that, you know, everything is here and everything happens for a reason. Spirits are here for a reason. Guides are here for a reason. There may be somebody, a guide may be somebody you have been with. I mean, one of the people I met through a karmic regression and channeling session with a lady who came to me for karmic regression is actually somebody I was married to 3,000 years ago. I was his wife. And there he was, and he started talking to me like he'd always known me. And I said, excuse me, do I know you? And then he started talking to me, addressing in a friendly, you know, informal type of address. And he says, yes. And it was really amazing because this woman who was my client is a lady who is 72 years old. And she was talking to me with the formal type of address. And suddenly I hear this male voice coming out of her. And she's talking to me as though she's always known me. Only this lady I didn't know 2 hours before, right? And this guy he's talking, he's just like walking into her body and channeling through her and talking to me. And it was really, really amazing. This is one of the things that happens through karmic regression also, and it's very, very useful for information. Through karmic regression, again, we meet our own spirits and guides, and we can actually connect to them, which is really, really good. We meet people we lost in the past. I'm having tomorrow 2 karmic regressions, one after the other, a man and his wife. They had 2 sons. Now, the first one died in an accident. He was still young. I think he was 22 when he died. And of course, they never recovered from the loss of their son. And his little brother, who's 4 years younger than him, was also very, very close to him and never recovered. And we talked about karmic regression for many, many reasons because they had many questions. And then we were talking, and I said, you know, I can put you in touch with your own son. He can talk to you. You can see him. You can talk to him for a moment. And, you know, there may be things unsaid that you'd wish to talk to him about, and then would be the time. So we're going to know tomorrow afternoon, at the end of the afternoon. And this is the kind of thing that can happen. Now their son is with them. I have people who come to see me for readings, for example, or channeling sessions, and their family is with them. There is this woman in the south of France who contacted me, and she told me about her 2 sons. And when she was talking, she explained that she has 2 sons. Before she had her 2 sons, but she had to have an abortion because, I don't know, maybe she wasn't in a steady relationship with the father, or I can't remember what. But anyway, she had to have that abortion. She aborted a son already. And then she told me about her relationship to her 2 boys, whom she has now, and the relationship between the 2 boys. And as she was talking, I could see things. And I said, oh, yes, I know why you have this relationship with your sons, because your sons, the sons you have now, they have come back to you because they haven't finished their karmic business with you. And they were twins in a past life. And I said, the one you have difficulties with, in fact, in a past life, was the one you aborted. So he's now coming to break even with you in this life again. And the funny thing is that I go by names very, very often, especially, I mean, in the UK, a lot of people, I mean, European original type of people, of course, with the people who come to the UK, we have different names now, but traditional English kind of people or British kind of people would very often have names like Philip and John, for example. They're very, very common names. But I mean, over here in France, people have a lot of different names. There is a plethora of different names from all over the world. And what with people coming to France from other continents, of course, the names have just expanded that much as well. But this woman's two sons, they were called Nathan and Ethan. And I said, you know, names are very, very important. The names they chose, you think you chose the name, but they chose their names because their names are their brand, they are their identity. I said, do you know what Nathan and Ethan mean in Hebrew? And she said, no. I said, Nathan, who is actually the reincarnation of the one she aborted. I said, Nathan in Hebrew, which is Natan, means the gift, the present. So he's a gift to you. And God, like God's gift to you. That's why he's so important and so difficult to manage in this life, because he wants to stake his own place in your life. So you're going to have to break evens with that. And I said, the other one has got that type of character. I said, Ethan in Hebrew means firm, solid, steady. That's why you cannot negotiate with him, because he's standing his ground. And that is exactly who they are. And through the definition of the two names, you know, I said, wow, this is exactly what they are and what you've been describing me. And she was describing me before she actually gave me the names. It was I who, in the end, said, you know, what are your son's name, by the way? And she said that. I thought, oh, my God. I said, you're in trouble. You better manage this because you're treading on hot coals here. And but then they are going to have a happy family and be a lovely family eventually if they can manage it. That's it. Chantal has something that the kind of oh yes, really happens. My eyes, you know, everything, weeds, plants, anything. Yeah. Oh yes, that was a very famous series of books, Chantal, in the 80s by an American woman who actually came to live in the south of France, in the Pyrenees area, and that was where she was inspired. Those books, yes, they were very, very popular. There were talks of doing a film maybe with the first one, because there was a series, I think, of 8 books originally on them, which were quite successful. And yeah, they're great. There's also The Quest for Fire, which was a French film by I can't remember who by. It wasn't that famous, but it was an interesting film also at the time. If you can check it up somewhere, maybe Netflix will have it in their catalog. But Quest for Fire, yeah, that was interesting. Really an amazing film also in its kind. That was a film that came out in 1982, I think. I don't think you were born in 1982, Philip, were you?
No, born in 85.
Ah, well, but it's never too late. Don't give up. Don't give up. An interesting film, although it looks a bit dusty now when you look at it. But the ideas were certainly interesting. They did. Ah, yes. Well, thank you, Chantal, for the information. Yes, it was a flop. Well, maybe some people could check that somewhere on Netflix or other. I'm going to ask. I said in my last show here that we should ask Amazon for royalties, but I think we're going to have to ask Netflix for royalties too now. All the good work we're doing for them. Anyway, do we have any questions? Anybody out there? Irene, I haven't seen Irene tonight. I hope you're well, Irene, and you're there with us.
Yeah, it's very strange not seeing her on today.
Yeah,
I hope she's all right. I know Nigel, Stefan in background looking. And Sam, just hope Irene's all right, bless her. So yeah, Chantal was born in 82.
Ah, well, I was just going to say, it was a good year, Chantal, you see.
So, yeah. Matt, do you know earlier you were talking about how these aliens come to you as appearances of could be animals or anything. In my eyes, then, Jesse, would you say that your life is a bit like Star Trek?
My life?
Yeah, do you see things as in like, because in Star Trek, there's different types of aliens from different types of planets. They've all got a different appearance.
I don't know why, Philip. It's my blonde streaks here that are surfacing again. I always get Star Trek confused with Battlestar Galactica, which is a shame because I really like Patrick Stewart. Who is British, by the way. He's not an American actor, and I really like him. And we have a similar life. I mean, if ever he listens to us, I really love him, and he's done a lot of. He's Professor Xavier in X-Men also. He's been in many other films, and he's really, really somebody I like. We had a similar life. He didn't have a very happy life when he was a kid also, and I'm not going to go into that. It's not my business to do it, and it's neither the time nor the place. But I really, really like him because he's just got something about him that you just can't get away from. Yes, Star Trek. Yes. But there have been more and more films about Star Trek and about Star Trek now. There's a new generation of Star Trek now. Yeah, my life was a bit like that, and it was also a bit like Cosmos 1999 for the people. Now that's going to date me, I know, but Cosmos 1999, it had some good things in it, although it was always the same. But again, I was always a fan of Barbara Bain and Martin Landau, who were back then husband and wife and working together, and the two forever stars of the show. That was really, really good. Yeah, I truly believe in totem animals and spirit animals. Mine is a fish eagle, South African lookalike, and bald eagle. Yeah, Chantal, it could be one of them. Of course, I don't know because I don't know you, and I haven't connected to that yet. But yes, eagle. All animals are good, of course, but eagles are special in the way that they fly really high. Eagles are the only birds that actually fly above the clouds and above the rain. That's why they are just so special. They rank really high in the animal and bird kingdom, so to speak, at least from a human point of view, because from a galactic or universal point of view, nobody's higher than anybody else. But yeah, they're beautiful, beautiful, beautiful animals. I went to a town here in France, and they have I don't know what you call it. They train falcons and eagles and birds like this. They become birds of prey to actually hunt, and they are really, really amazing. They're loyal. They're intelligent. It's really, really. I mean, I don't like. I don't like zoos, for example. I don't like circuses because I don't like to see animals used, and very often we don't know about it, but abused and really badly treated. I mean, a lot of them, for example, when you go to I'm going to have people hate me in a few minutes, but I don't care because tigers, and lions in circuses and elephants are actually beaten until they get the act right, and that should not be. Animals are not on earth to serve humans. I mean, I'm not preaching or being judgmental here. I'm just saying a fact. I'm not judging anybody, but this is one of the reasons why I've long been a vegetarian, for example. Respect for life. For me, thou shalt not kill. That includes do not kill to live. People will do what they like, and that's not going to change my relationship to them. I have a lot of friends who are carnivores and meat eaters, and some of them are hunters. I don't approve of what they do, but I'm not here to talk about this or to even tell them what they should do. I'm no one to tell them what they should do. But on other planets also, some humanoid creatures also kill animals and sometimes even eat their meat. Some of them, it was in one of Dolores Cannon's books, some of them completely ignore them. They live on a planet where they have their own animals and they just ignore them. Which, again, I think it's a shame, because we have a lot to learn from animals also. I've always been fascinated by animals ever since I was a kid. Kids love animals. Ever since I was a kid. And, you know, they can be also companions and spirits. I would love to meet elephants, for example, whales and animals like this. I would just love to meet them, because I just feel like a natural connection to them. I actually met a whale, a galactic whale, through a channeling session. It was just amazing. It was a humpback whale, and she was really, really amazing. Really amazing. Dolphins also come my way sometimes. Cheers, everyone.
Yeah, Chantel's just said, you are speaking to my heart, Jesse. I have the same feeling about animals not being used for financial gain in any way.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we're birds of a feather then, Chantal, because, you know, everything, like I said, everything is here for a reason. Animals can teach us a lot of things. I've probably told you about a little she-cat who comes and takes care of me here. I don't know who she belongs to. Nobody's really sure. We have a lot of cats here in the area. We have a lot of houses with gardens, and the cats just have their wildlife out there in our gardens. And one of them, you know, she will go away. You just stand 3 steps from her, and she runs like a bat out of hell. When she sees me from the other end of my neighbor's garden, she runs to me, and I'm the only one who can talk. I put a video with her on my YouTube channel, and she just really loves me. She takes care of me. She's really, really amazing. She just comes and she will stay in my arms for anything from 20 minutes to an hour. She just purrs there. She doesn't move. She's really happy. I could hang her upside down or do anything with her. She doesn't care. She's just happy she's with me. And cats are really good, because cats actually are good spirits in the universe, because they actually suck up, like vacuum all the tensions that are in us, and they take it away from us and they absorb it. God knows what they do with it after that. Only cats can do that. And I'm really lucky, because I told you about nature creatures also. Not the Nick Park films, by the way, but actual nature creatures and animals, and they are all around us. You know, when I go to the garden, I have butterflies. We don't see many butterflies now in gardens and parks and in nature, but there are some butterflies who come and they fly around me. I have ladybirds come and just, you know, come to my shirt or my clothes or whatever on my arms. And I almost killed one once. I was here at this desk. My door was open onto the garden, and suddenly I did this, and I felt there was something, and I thought, oh my God, what was that? And I looked, and there was a ladybird in a poor state on the floor. I didn't know she was there, of course. I would never have done that. And, you know, and my friends think I'm crazy because I take the spiders out of the house into the garden and things like that. They are here. They are also spirits. They are also connections. They can also guide us. Animals, if we can spend time with them, and better than with people even, because people are formatted today. You know, we're all conditioned, brainwashed by our television, by films, by this, that, and the other, politics, and etc. Animals are not connected to this world, to that world of politics and television and stuff. They just do their things. I mean, spiders can teach us patience, for example, and arts and crafts. When you watch spiders and you see what they do, it's really, really amazing. Actually, there was a question about spiders in Blade Runner, the first Blade Runner film. And they mentioned spiders, and it was really good. I mean, I have spiders, galactic spiders, come to me sometimes now. This is very recent. They're really, really huge. They're the size of an SUV car, just to give you an idea, a small van. And they're really, really, really good. They work in constructions. I think they also do some work with surgery, from what I understand from them. They came for healing also. So that was really, really, really good. They're really, really talented. I've talked about ants also. Sometimes we have ants around us and they come and they are also doctors. They're really good healers. And they're spirits. They're spirits. Now, some other people, we talked about spirits and guide. I haven't done this on this channel, but on my French channels here, I've done some programs on Virgin Mary, for example, and Jesus. I did 2 shows on Virgin Mary and 2 shows on Jesus. Now, just to say, I am not a Christian, so Virgin Mary and Jesus are nothing to me by culture. By nature, apparently, yes, but not by culture. I don't belong in any kind of religion or that sort of belief. I'm a spiritual kind of person, not a religious kind of person. But Mary came and healed me when I was 28, so that's going back some time now. And at the time, I thought I was just seeing things. You know, there is a French expression which would translate as, you know, when somebody has a fanciful imagination, we say, "Ah, he's been seeing the Virgin again," talking about Virgin Mary. You know, but I actually saw her and met her, and many times after that. And she came, and at the time I thought, oh my God, it was late in the evening, and I thought, oh my God, I really must be more tired than I thought. I am now seeing, you know, Virgin Mary right here next to my bed. I was lying on the bed, I was relaxing, and she actually healed me. She cured my stomach trouble. She was there. It was really, really amazing. Maybe we could talk about her in another show. And Jesus, they're really, really amazing people. They are spirits. They are guides. They are really loving. They come the moment you call them. And again, I'm saying this, I'm not religious and I'm not a believer. They are just ascended masters, as we call them. They are ready and willing to help anytime. They're really impressive. I have this little medal here of Virgin Mary. I found it on the street and I picked it up. I have a bad habit. I pick up anything I find on the street and keep it. And God knows where they end up, usually in the box, and they go forgotten there. But this Virgin Mary, I thought, oh, I have some friends who are believers, you know, I'll give it to them, etc. And actually, I never found a friend to give that medal to. And in the end, I thought, well, you fool, why don't you keep it yourself? Because you're in touch with her all the time. So she might want to be with you and be reminded just by the sole presence of that medal of the Virgin Mary. And I thought, okay, well, if that's the way it's going to be, then, well, you know.
And that's it, yeah.
For what it's worth. And so yes, they are spirits, they are guides, they are healers, they are just amazing. I did a show where I explained the way of Jesus, Jesus's path, as I would call it also, and how Jesus came to really redeem, not really redeem himself as it were, but show how we can actually redeem ourselves as humans and go back into the grace of God. For people who call it God, I mean, I call it the source, but like aliens do, in fact, they call it the source. But you know, this creation.
Interesting. Actually, that's interesting. So even aliens think also know that there's a source that created them.
Oh yes, yes, they are sky creatures. They are sky people. Originally, people like Mary and Jesus, they are sky people in a creational kind of sense. You know, they come directly from the source. Jesus actually chose to reincarnate. And now this is probably the most popular and most famous of guides, because he's not just Christianity or Judeo-Christianity himself. He is his own religion. He has his own cult, like Virgin Mary. Now, for the Protestants, Virgin Mary is only Jesus's mother, but for the Catholics, Mary has her own cult. She has apparitions. She has appeared in a number of places in the world, and people just go there in droves. You know, one of the places, for example, in France, which is the #1 place for Mary's apparitions, is in the south of France, near the Pyrenees, in the town of Lourdes. Now, Lourdes, or Lourdes, as it is pronounced in the Philippines, is a girl's name because they are Christian. They are just such believers out there traditionally that they use this as a name. Oh, Madonna's daughter is called Lourdes, actually, also. Her first daughter.
Wow.
Yeah, Madonna the singer, of course. Huh?
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
so she just is, and she's full of love. You know, when she arrives, you suddenly find yourself bathed in love, in a wave of love. It's really, really impressive. So she's a guide. She's really, really a guide. She's a spirit. She's ever present, you know, everlasting. She's the Madonna of roses for the Christian. You know, the rose kind of stained glass you find on churches, etc. They are a symbol of Virgin Mary. They are a representation of her. She's Our Lady of the Roses for the Catholics. And this is just another symbol. You know, she's just there. She is the mother of creation. Abraham is the father, you know, from a spiritual, religious even sometimes point of view, and Abraham is the father of nations and of men, and the leader of men. And Mary is she's the feminine equivalent in a sense. There is a woman, a French woman. She also lives in the Pyrenees, actually, and she gives teachings of her channeling with Mary, and she's really amazing. I mean, I'm impressed. I'm really hard to impress, but when she comes on, which is really rare, I'm really, really impressed. You know, you have to show respect to these kind of people. So again, coming back to spirits and guides, yes, Jesus, Mary, sometimes Joseph appears. Muhammad, for example, also appears, but Muhammad was here before as another entity. I will not talk about who that was because I don't want to raise polemics or to offend even people who don't know and wouldn't like to know or believe it. But he was here before in another body and to do a similar job. Chantal, I hold the same conviction that the gods, as we know them, referred to in mythology, Greek, Norse, any of them all are, and there we are. They are very weird. Yes, they are, Chantal. And maybe I talked about this when we did our show on Atlantis and the Atlanteans. Atlantean masters, when they were ready to leave Earth, we're going back like, I think it was 38,000 years ago, at the very, very dawn of Egyptian culture, they became teachers. They became teachers, each in their own respect. So they are guides, again, in their own respect. And they were received and perceived by men of those days as gods, because they could fly, they could appear, disappear. They could, they had technology those people did not understand. And so, yes, they were referred as gods. And today, they are actually, even to date, Egyptian gods. I'm in contact with Anubis, the god of death and passing into the world of the dead. He's he's here now, actually, he's just arrived. He's very, very often with me. Thoth has been with me. Now, Thoth is the master of knowledge, of justice, and of wisdom, among other things. He's one of the main gods in the Egyptian pantheon. Now, that was the same. I mean, if you looked at some, for example, if you looked at some entities or gods in the Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, or Norse mythology, you know, you find them on other planets. We humans often think, oh, you know, they're just creation, you know, fanciful creations of representation or this and that. Even paleontologists or historians, they will say, oh, yes, they were represented like this because men of those times, they didn't know any better. Well, I'm sorry, everyone. They did know better because they actually walked with them better than we would know now, and better than those people who put them down like this, you know, with looking askance down on them, and they would just treat them like they were idiots. No, they were not idiots. They actually drew what they saw because they were walking.
Yeah.
And it's not because, They don't look. Excuse me, one more minute, if I may, Philip. It's not
Yeah.
because they don't look like the next door girl or your next door neighbor that they did not exist. Oh, they did exist, and you would be amazed to find out who exists in the whole universe and other universes and what they look like. And like I said before about, again, my nephew in Tehran, if he really saw his alien, he wouldn't be able to run fast enough. He would be so scared. But in fact, that alien is really good, really loving, and has been with him all the time and helping him, loving him, and teaching him. Sorry, thank you for your patience, Philip.
No, yeah, I totally understand. Just one question about the. Do you know, as you were saying, that Toth and Anubis came to you just now.
Anubis came.
Yeah, CRAIGNOU. Yeah, my pronunciation is terrible at times. But yeah, why would they want to come at this particular moment in time if it's connected to death?
They're just friends. They come and teach me things. Toth is on a ship at the moment. He's in space. I can connect to him. He's on a ship in space. He's training people to come to Earth. That's what he's doing. It's funny because I really didn't expect that he would connect with me just now, but he did, which is really good.
Wow.
And he's like he's a bit like me out in space. I'm a Commodore. I'm an admiral with the Confederation, the Galactic Confederation, and he's a bit like that on a much higher level than I am. And he's training people to come to Earth because a lot of people in the universe, a lot of aliens are here. Actually, they're all around Earth now, more than ever, and coming from the remotest, furthest, and way beyond that, places, recesses of the universe, nooks and crannies of the universe, forsaken places and unknown places to man at the best of time. And they are just here, and they are coming. Time for the meeting is really drawing nearer and nearer, and they're really making ready, which is amazing. I'm really so happy to be in contact with him, and he's doing that. That's what he's doing now. The other night, about almost a month ago, maybe now, with Stefan, we did a channeling session with Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla is really amazing. He was so happy to be with us, and little be said about how happy we were to be with him and what he's doing now, what we were doing in the past. He actually was here at the time of the Anunnakis. Now, the Anunnakis are the people, the aliens in Sumer who created the first humans. And from him, I learned that I was there too. I was there too, and it's funny because he told me something I'd never told a soul in all my life. He said, yes, Jesse, you have a passion for the human brain and the betterment and the development of the human brain. And he said, you know what, back there with the Anunnaki, so that we're going back maybe 36,000 years ago, if not more. And he said, you were already there, and you were a brain specialist, and you were already working on how to improve the brain. And I'd never told anybody about this, not even Stefan. He didn't know. And I thought, oh my God, there's nothing I can hide from those people. And he was really, because he's really a good heart, and he's really amazing. Now, just for the people who might not have heard of him yet, Nikola Tesla is the man who, I think he was from, oh my God, Czechoslovakia or somewhere. And he immigrated to America, and in America, he created free energy. And of course, they had to get rid of him because it just didn't go with what we pay for our energy bills now. And that didn't go down too well, what with the American movement and the presidents of the time. And so they had to get rid of him. In fact, he died very old, very lonely, very poor, in a very sad condition. Plus the fact that he was gay, that didn't go down too well in the America of those days. And all this, just played against him. And he's really so good. Now he's moving on. He's continuing his work on another level now with other people in another dimension. He's not really far, strictly speaking, as a distance may be understood by humans. in a 3D world. But he's there, and he's still very, very busy, very, very active. And we're going to be working together, him and I. I'm really, really happy. It was a very beautiful show. Chantal has something to tell us there. They teach Jesse things so he can come here and impart his findings and knowledge to us. I could listen. Oh, thank you very much, Chantal. Chantal, thank you first. But this is why we're doing these shows here with John and Philip, for example. This is why I'm doing my shows on French channels, on American channels. I am an ambassador for and a messenger for ETs and other people from even sometimes other dimensions who just appear to us. This is my job. This is my mission. And tell you what, I really love it. I've never had such a better time, or so much a better time than I'm having now in all my life, because I'm really, really in touch with those people, and they just give me so much and so much to share. People think, oh, you know, Jesse, you're not doing anything. You're just there on your computer doing, typing, writing. Oh boy, if they knew. I'm talking to hundreds of people at the same time. You know, I'm always saying with aliens, it's like, you know, the old ham radios our parents used to have, and you had to like turning a button. Yeah. I mean, it's like I have all the radio stations this side of the universe on at the same time. Imagine this. And I'm listening and hearing to all of them, plus the aliens who just decide to pop in every now and then at the most inconvenient of times sometimes. But that's why I'm here. That's my choice. That's why I know so many languages, for example, and so many alien languages also, because I communicate with them. I think I've told you on this show, in other shows on this channel, I speak Spanish. I don't know how I speak Spanish. I never learned Spanish. I never took 1 hour of a Spanish lesson, not so much as 1 minute of a Spanish lesson. I was just in my early 20s. I was a student at university. I had Spanish and Hispanic people from Colombia, for example, and places like that, Peru. And I thought, my God, I'm hearing things. I think I understand Spanish here. And I had learned a few languages, but not Spanish. And it was really almost scary at the time, because I thought, oh my God, I'm hearing things, and I think I understand Spanish now. And and I didn't understand. And at the time, you know, we were all speaking English, but when they were speaking Spanish among themselves, I think, my God, you know, if they so much as half wish to say something I'm not supposed to hear, they don't realize that I actually not only hear, but understand what they're saying. And little by little, in edgeways, I starting to say a few words, a few phrases, a few expressions here and there. And then one day in 1991, September 1991, I found myself in Barcelona. It was a nice sunny afternoon. I was sitting outside the cathedral in the Barrio Gótico, so that's the Gothic area of beautiful place, by the way, in Barcelona. And this very old lady came there. I mean, she must have been in her 80s already back then. And she started talking to me, and I found myself chatting to her. We chatted in Spanish for 2 hours. At the end of 2 hours, she said something, and I said, oh, I'm sorry, my Spanish is not really good. I don't actually speak Spanish. And she looked at me like I was a madman, you know. The wild witch from the West. Said, what, you don't speak Spanish? But we've been talking for hours. I said, yes, it's a crazy story. I said, don't even think about it, but that's the way it is. And she was actually a teacher by trade when she was working, but she was retired, of course, by then. But she could speak French, and she said, oh, we can speak French if you like. I said, no, I'm really enjoying this. I want to speak Spanish with you. It's good practice for me. And I went to Tenerife after that, and again I spoke to a lot of Spaniards out there, and they were amazed. And when I told them I'd never actually learned Spanish, they didn't understand. I said, I don't understand either. You know, it's aliens. I know who it is. Some of my alien friends and family aliens. And they just gave me the language, like they did with alien languages. It's really amazing.
It's crazy.
That's what sometimes we say spirits, you know, we say, oh, look at John, look at Mary, you know, they're really gifted. They do this and that, like, you know, like the French say, fingers in the nose without any help or any bother. You know, they just do it so easily. When you look at them and listen to them, you just think, you know, it's just so easy. But they have help. They have help from spirits and guides, and that's where they all come in and step in. They come in and help us. I told you again, I'm going to say this again, but I told you about my nephew in Tehran. You know, he's just a genius at anything that is quantum mathematics and physics, maths, physics. He just adores it. And he's never really learned much more than kids his age do at school, especially when you think about this. Now, people may not know this over here in Europe, but in Iran, kids go to school part-time. They go mornings or afternoons, so they don't get as many lessons as we get back here in old Europe. You know, they really get much fewer lessons than we do. And he's just a genius. And he knows it's his alien. You know, anytime you ask him, you say, Aras, why did you learn this? He says, oh, it's my friend. He comes every night and he helps me and he teaches me this, that, and the other. And it's his passion. You know, he just comes alive. His eyes light up. You just say algebra in front of him and suddenly he's alive, you know, or physics or mathematics. He just comes alive. He's just amazing. He's a great kid besides that too. That's it. Yeah, they're just anybody listening to us tonight who's had experiences with spirits and aliens? Philip, have you had any?
Well, myself, I think I explained it to you before. That when I was asleep once, but I woke up and I felt an hand on my shoulder, but it didn't feel human entirely. But I said, like, oh, who are you? And it said, I'm a galactic traveler on a level, honestly, a big title. And I was like, well, wow. Well, oh, you're an angel. Sort of. So, and then it kind of went dead then. But I was totally gobsmacked when I got that. And it was so real, and I was awake. I weren't really asleep either.
Yeah, if I may, Philip, I have some really important recommendation to make there to anybody who might have experienced or who will experience this kind of event. Keep calm. They are not harming you. If they wanted to harm you, they would have done a long time ago. They're not harming you. Very often, they are here for the better, for the best of what mankind has to offer and has to receive also. We get help. If we should so much as ask for help, they will not do the job for us, but they will assist if we do ask and grant them permission. Do not panic. As frightful looking as they may appear to you, that doesn't mean they are ill-willed, you know, or malevolent or anything of the kind. They are just different, very, very different. They may be very big. They may come in yards height, for example, really, really big. They may come in very, very small dimensions. It doesn't change anything in their power or their potential, or whatever their ways and means or even intentions are, or maybe. They are really here to connect with us on Earth, whether we're human, hybrids, or even ETs living on Earth. They come and bring us a lot of things. Very often they're just watching or carrying out experiments, which may be painful. I have to admit this. It may be painful, not because they mean harm or bodily harm of any kind, or aggression or assault of any kind. They are just not conscious that they are causing us pain and trauma, because to them it doesn't exist. They have no emotion, they have no feeling, no sensation. They don't know what pain is. I have found myself actually teaching what pain is. I mean, teaching, for lack of a better word, explaining, elaborating on what actually pain was for humans, namely, but not only, with my friend Stéphane again, because we do a lot of work together and we help each other a lot regularly. Yeah. And, you know, I just say, you know, for example, what they're doing now, the Astras, I talked about them at the beginning of the show tonight. I said, you know, what you're doing here is really very traumatizing for humans and very, very difficult. You come with very high power of frequency. And it's like you're putting a high power station down in the socket in your wall, and the socket will explode because it cannot take the pressure and the power that's coming down through to that socket. So this is what happens to us and what causes us pain. But it doesn't mean they are evil or ill-willed in any kind of way, because they are not.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. To be honest with you, I never thought to see it as a threat. Apparently, I've got a son. And I'm married to this
said
thing.
You did, Philippe. I'm just saying for people.
Yeah.
Because, because what we see, you know, we see a lot of, not so much now, but the American films of the 80s, for example, they were showing aliens who were really bad, doing this bad, torturing or extra. But in fact, it's not that, you know, and very often aliens had to not retaliate as such, but to react because those people were afraid, which is understandable, perfectly understandable. And they started kicking at the aliens and etc. Of course, if somebody comes out kicking at you, what do? You react. It's the same with wasps, by the way. I like wasps. You know, people,
no, don't mention that, Jesse. My total nightmare is wasps. I hate wasps.
Now, can I give you a piece of advice? Now, this is free of charge and free of royalties, everyone. We can all just...
I don't think there's anything that could convince me that wasps are good.
I'm going to tell you, Philip, everybody, peeps, I'm going to tell you a secret. Now, this is, maybe I've shown you this. In Andromedan Sign Language, we have a symbol like this, which means gather, to share. Okay, this is what we're doing here. We're gathering to share information and knowledge. Now, when you have, if you have a garden or even a balcony, put some lavender at the other end of your balcony, because lavender attracts wasps. When you keep them busy with the lavender, they will not come and bother you. And they will be happy. You're doing them a favor, and they're doing you a favor by leaving you alone. So get a big bunch of lavender, a big pot of lavender, plant lavender at the other end of your garden so they will not come into the house. If they should still come near you, don't move. They may come and squat on your arm, for example, in your favorite t-shirt or bathing outfit on the beach or in your back garden or whatever. Just let them be there. Do not move. They're very, very sensitive insects. When you move, they get really scared. And when they are scared, they think they are attacked and they will really go for you and attack you. If you just let them there, don't move, they will go. They will just squat there 1 or 2 minutes, maybe, which will seem like eternity to you if you're that scared of them. But they're just coming to probe you, as it were. It's probably your perfume or your blood, like mosquitoes. It's our blood that attracts them to us, and then they come and sting us. But just let them come and go, and they will leave you alone. I have a friend here. She goes absolutely berserk. The minute she sees a wasp, you know, miles away, she goes berserk. What happens when she does that? All the wasps arrive on her, and she gets stung, the silly wee woman. I tell her, she's called Monica. I tell her regularly, Monica, don't move. Let them be. They will go in half a minute. They will be gone. You won't even remember they've been. No, she just goes berserk and starts putting on a show, howling like a wild witch. And I say, you know, you're just making them feel they are attacked, and that's why. And she got stung so many times. I said, but you're just asking for trouble. Let them be. She has a garden which is about a square mile. You know, it's really immense. She lives near here, out in the country. And I said, you know, plants. They love plants. They have trees. They have fruit trees. They have all sorts of flowers and plants. I said, the only thing that's missing in your garden is lavender. Just put some lavender and they will be happy and you will be happy. That's all you need to do. Wasps are very...
Just say what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a mini lavender farm on my back garden.
You're going to do what? Sorry, Philip?
I'm gonna make a mini lavender farm on my garden.
Yes, do that. Do that.
So they can be busy on it then.
Really, yeah. Lavender is really, really a good plant. You can put it in your washing and it will perfume your washing. You can put some or lavender drops or flowers in your pillowcase if you have trouble sleeping, if you're nervous or stressed or anything. You know, they use it to, back in old Roman times, they used lavender in their washing everywhere. So as to wash, lavender comes from lavar, which means wash in Latin. And they use it to perfume their clothes. And it's a beautiful flower. It grows literally anywhere on the planet, you know, and with little or next to no attention. You don't even have to do anything with them, and they're just beautiful. A beautiful color. It's blue, green. It's great. Actually, I don't have any in this garden. This is my mother's house, by the way, so it doesn't have everything I would like to see here, but I'm working on it. But lavender is really, really good. You know, it's really good for you. You can make lavender tea. You can do lots of things. You can make your own perfume with lavender.
Yeah. You can also have it in a cake.
Come on, sorry.
You can also put it in a cake as a flavour. Yeah. Yes.
Sorry, Chantal, we have to. Well, we have to leave you now. If you're going, well, say hello to the horses for us. Horses are really great creatures. They live echinoid people, which are half horse, half human. They live in the Pleiades near Orion, I think, or near Orion. And they're really, really friendly and loving people. They're very, very good. I knew a horse once who belonged to a friend. His name is Oscar. Oscar was just immense. It was all white. It was the size of 2 horses. He was the size of an elephant. And he was so nice and sweet and tender. I mean, I could have taken him away had he fitted in my backpack. But he was really great. Yeah, a great horse. Yeah. Really, and horses are very sensitive, and they're also usually afraid of us because horses so things like they're blown up. So to a horse, you might look like you're like 5 feet, 5'6", like I am, for example. But to them, you look like you're 20 feet, you know, because their vision is blown up. So that's why they're very, very afraid even of people. That's why, for example, horses, most of the time they will stand. They will not squat and sit down or lie down because it's they're afraid that if any animal or anybody should come, they're in a weak position and they will not have time to get up and run away. That's why they will stay standing most of the time, except when you put them in a stable or when they're in their own field and they're used to you, or etc. But in nature, it's very, very difficult. As soon as they see creatures, including humans, they don't know, they're not familiar with, they get very, very wary and very nervous and very tense. Yes, Philip, thank you for sharing this piece of information with you. But I would, going back to your example and your experience, I would say now, when you experience contacts like this, feed the contact, you know, try and go and call upon that entity so they may come back to you. And
I've got some information.
Yeah, Philip.
So apparently, it's this person's a wife of mine, and I've got a son called Jacob.
I didn't hear the last bit, Philip. Can you repeat the end of your sentence?
And apparently I've got a son called Jacob.
Wow.
Very strange. But
yeah,
that's fair enough. Probably it's another dimensional life that I've got. What's in another? I'm not sure, but that's apparently I've asked, and that's what I got. But there's also there was this other one experience that I had, but I woke up on a like bubble wrap surface. And I'm thinking, I know I'm in my bed and it's not bubble wrappy. Anyway, so I'm like, where am I? I weren't scared. I was just more, where the hell am I? And there were a bloke on the other side of this. It's circular. It was like a circular platform with bubble wrap. And this other guy were called Steve. And he went, I don't know, mate. talking my kind of lingo. I don't know, mate. I ain't got a clue where I am. And I'm like, what's happening? And then all of a sudden, that was it. Gone.
One of the ways of traveling in the universe is not crafts. It's just what I would call the best example. Now, for the people, I know we've talked about this film before, especially in our show about books, films, and series recently. But if you've seen the film Dune, the original Dune film, they have a way of traveling there. They have their own crafts, of course, and they have a way of traveling, which is a spice that grows on the planet of Dune, also called Arrakis. And on that planet, they mine, actually, they have giant worms which mine the desert for that spice, which is called melange. And this spice melange, people take it, their eyes all go blue, their skin takes a bluish kind of hue also, and they get strange powers. And that one of those unusual powers is to bend, to fold space. So if you want to go from A to B, that spice has the power of bending space so A and B actually meet, and you can walk from one into the other, like we walk, I've explained, in dimensions in the past. And this is one way to travel, and you may be light years away just with one step, you know, or one thought. When you travel in space, one thought is enough. Imagine, for example, it's winter or Christmas, for example, you're all in the family and friends gathering at home, celebrating, and suddenly some people start talking about their summer holiday. So we're 6 months away from the summer holiday. And I don't know, maybe you're in Yorkshire, for example, and you have a lot of snow for winter and Christmas. And you're all comfortably sitting at home around the fire maybe or something. And then you were on holiday the summer before in Hawaii. So we're in a completely different kind of setting. So instantly, the minute the word Hawaii comes out of anybody's mouth, you're there. You have swaying palm trees, you have golden sand beaches, blue seas, surfers by the, you know, in droves, and they're just all there. Now, this is one way of traveling, but for people higher, you know, the most highly advanced aliens, you know, they just travel like this. Some of them don't even travel, they just project themselves. They're not even here. The Atlanteans do that regularly, you know, and this is another way. And this is how, again, because they just appear so fast near us. People call them in religions, ancient cultures, and folk tales, and you name it. You know, they say, oh, I saw this angel, I saw this jinn, I saw a leprechaun, for example. There is actually a place, if you ever go, or if you've ever been to the Isle of Man, my mum used to live there, so I've been there a few times, and it's just outside Douglas on the Isle of Man. There is a road. It's really a very beautiful road. It's all covered in trees and bushes, and it's very, very beautiful. It's on the way to the airport. I can't remember the name of that road, but it's just outside Douglas anyway. And when you're there, that if you should take a taxi, the taxi driver at some particular place will say, okay, this is where the ferries are. You have to say hello to the ferries before we go through their space. And rumor has it, I don't know, I wasn't there, but rumor has it, maybe it's an urban myth or tale, that one day an American tourist was there and in a taxi, and he said, oh, what a lot of nonsense, you know, you can. The taxi driver actually asked him to get out of his taxi, and he wasn't taking it anywhere further. Whether that's true, truth or tale, well, we don't know. But anyway, it's just to say how important fairies are in, I mean, the Isle of Man traditionally is very, very Celtic culture. It's very British today. The British have been on the Isle of Man for 5 centuries almost now, so it's become very British. But they still have, you know, remainders and snippets of a very old culture there. It's the same. Go, if you haven't been, you know, go to the Isle of Man, and go also to the Connemara Lake District in Ireland. This is really amazing, and people there will tell you about leprechauns, and it's really, really amazing.
I do want to go there.
You know, excuse me, Philippe, if I may, just for a few more seconds. When you are, I was standing there with some people in the middle of nowhere near the lake Loch Corrib, which is the biggest lake in the Connemara Lake District. It is really amazing. I mean, you are there, the wind is blowing right on the ground really, really fast. It's really eerie. And then just above you, but I mean above you, a few yards above you, you have clouds, you know, really big, thick gray clouds that are moving like they're rolling above you. It's really amazing. You are in another world. And you have horses which are running, who are running like this, which are running like that in the wilderness out there, you know, in the heather and around all the lakes and Loch Corrib. It's really amazing. You have to do this once in your lifetime. I can't wait to go back there, actually. It's really, really amazing. Thank you, Philip, for your patience. You wanted to say something.
I was just going to say, that's a place that I'd like to go myself.
Go. What are you waiting for?
No, well, with this COVID situation, the matter of going out anywhere, but yeah, definitely. I think probably next year I'll probably end up taking a travel there to also Isle of Man, because, you know, I've not even been there yet. So
Isle of Man is quite nice, especially the southern half of the island. The northern half of the island is actually quite recent. I think it's sort of sand which collected there at the top of the island and actually doubled the size of the island in the past 1,000 years, but it wasn't there originally. It's not there's not a lot of people living there even now. I mean, even Ramsey, which was a beautiful town, which is in the northeast of the Isle of Man, is literally deserted now. It's like a ghost town. It really breaks your heart, because it was really beautiful.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, it looked a bit like if you've ever been to Bournemouth or Worthing now, for example. I mean, I'm from Worthing, so I know the area well. You know, it's very much like that. You know, all these places, like a century ago, when people really started going to the waters and then to the sea and etc. It's really, really much. And Ramsey is very much like that, but it's really, really completely deserted now. It's you know, it's really a sore sight to go there and see the shops are all standing empty, and people, there's nobody on the beach, nobody on the street. It's really, really sad, and it's a beautiful little town, quite modern if you compare to places like, for example, Castletown in the south of the Isle of Man, which is really nice, or Peel in the west. Peel is really amazing. There is a castle there. It's really, I mean, go. It's really, really, really amazing. And the Isle of Man is also the place for Thomas the Tank Engine, which originated from there. You know, all anybody who has ever been a kid should remember
definitely
that. And of course, it's also the birthplace of the Bee Gees.
Yeah, which I only recently found out that myself, which I thought, oh wow, didn't know that.
And Barry, whom I think is the only one alive now out of the four boys, actually has returned to the Isle of Man. Yes, he lives there now.
That's brilliant. Well, Jesse, I believe it's coming to end the show.
It's time Phillips went to bed.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, Jesse. But are we going to kiss and tell? And are we going to kiss and tell on next subject?
Yeah, we still have a lot to talk about, peeps. So don't go away. Stay tuned for more. And I would like to put in a special request. Can you please share our shows? Like and share our shows.
Yes.
A lot of people, I'm saying this because a lot of people are really interested. I'm not just saying for me. I know we have people like Drew, for example, who's on the show, and Leslie and all the mob. But you know, people are really interested. I get people, I mean, English-speaking people, of course, and who talk to me and they say, "Oh my God, Jesse, I didn't know you were doing this show, etc." And I said, "Oh, yes, and there's lots of people out there. You know, you should go and check that. Please share our shows. Thank you very much in advance. I know
definitely.
You will."
Like I said, this show is actually shown on Team Spirit Paranormal as we speak, DNTV, NEPS, Beyond Dimensions, Red Rejects. So yes, please, if anyone is watching this, even if it's a replay, like, share, please do.
Get clicking, everyone, now.
So yeah, Jesse, it's been an absolute pleasure. And are we actually going to say which is going to be his next subject?
Yes, we know what our next subject is, Philip. What is it?
I forgot.
No, okay, well, I will. Shall I just kiss and tell then? Okay, let's go.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Next time we will be talking, and in fact I will be developing, because we've already done this in our first show together here. If you have questions about the relationship between aliens, humans, and hybrids, there's still a lot of uncharted territory there, which we can try and cover, at least for some of it. And if you know people, you have questions, you know, you can share our shows, but you can also share our flyers. Philip does a great job with flyers, so we need to pay him tribute and share them as soon as we have them. You can come with other people to the show, you know, bring your neighbors, bring your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your dogs, whoever, you know, and they will all be welcome, and we'll be happy to have them and talk to them. And we're really gaining momentum here with people getting interested. And that is also thanks to Philip, John, Julie, and Steve, and all the mob again, are really getting attention. There is not, I'm sorry to say, well, in fact, I'm happy to say, because we are here actually among the first people who are really doing this seriously. I mean by seriously, in earnest, in the sense that, for example, we have our regular shows, which I haven't been able to manifest with other partners. You know, I've done some other shows with other people in the UK and in the US, but apparently they were happy with the just one shot kind of show, and why not? But I mean, we have this special thing here that we're doing a repeat kind of business. We have so much to share, really, believe me. And our people come. I mean, Chantal, who was a lot with us tonight, she's always there. Irene is usually there. There is also Kerry or Sherry. I'm sorry, Kerry or Sherry. Yeah. You. Who's always.
There's also Annette. Annette is also an army as well.
Usually there, and a few other people. You know, don't just come like this alone. You know, come with your friends, and we'll all be happy. Anybody who's interested. One of my sisters actually lives in Switzerland. She's been there for donkey's years now, but longer than she'd care to remember, I'm sure. But she works in an old people's homes there. She's like a nurse, a kind of nurse there, and she said, "Oh, you know, the other day we were in the changing rooms, and the girls were talking about aliens." I said, "Oh, well, that goes to show there are some intelligent people in Switzerland too." So we were joking about this. And she says, "You know, they would really want to see your shows." And I said, what are they waiting for? She said, "I'm going to tell them about you." I said, "Okay, you're only my sister. You can only do what a sister can do." But yes, we're gaining momentum. We have to spread the word. And as I said, and I will shut up after this, and a lot of aliens are coming together, them and with us and for us. You know, we have to come together. Together we stand, and we have to come together on this. And it's already in the pipe works already. So let's do it. Thank you for being here. Love to be with you soon again, and we will be talking about aliens, humans, and hybrids. Bye for now. Bye, Philip.
Bye for now, guys.